That you guys have been sticking with us from the start, all the way through when we've been needing support. We could always rely on you people, the Australian people, who have come together to basically say that, you know, we're not, they always try to frame you as crazy, as eccentric, as all this, but what they always got wrong was that you're actually just a representation of the Australian house, of the Australian street, of the person who believes that this nation has a higher and a better place to go. As a person who wasn't going to put up with the rubbish that somehow we could single-handedly cool the planet from a room up in that building. You people, all the way through, you've been fighting this good fight because as politicians we're only a few numbers, but it's always so humbling to come down here and people say, oh, you shouldn't go down there because you'll be framed as this and you'll be framed as that. You people are the representation of the Australian people. You people are the representation of that majority who rarely come out to protest, who rarely go outside their lives. You people are the ones who say, you're not agent provocateurs, you're not people who sort of are habitual complainers. You people are people in houses, you have jobs, you've lived good lives, you're responsible Australians, and you've said, look, I've come out because I want the dignity of the office of the Prime Minister returned back to someone who's an adult. And I'm sick of the fact that my nation keeps borrowing more and more and more money and getting us deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. Because I know this is a problem. I know that someday I'll have to pay this money back. And if I don't pay it back, my children will pay it back. And if they don't pay it back, my grandchildren will pay it back. And why is this happening to us? Why can't these people at least deliver on one promise? One promise. Because they promised the surplus, they promised that they wouldn't extend the debt, they promised that they wouldn't go through $250 billion in debt, but they have. Anyway, the main reason I'm down here is to thank you people, is because that when we had big demonstrations and everybody wanted to turn up, and then, you know, as time went on and it became apparent that, to be honest, that this Labor government will fail, that you people keep turning up, and so I'm here because basically as your servant, I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you've done for so long, and I really appreciate it. And I want to say that, you know, as long, because I don't know, as a servant of the people, I'm a servant of you. You are a representation of the Australian people, and no one is ever going to make me embarrassed to come out here and say hello to you. So thank you so much. God bless you all. I wish you all the best. Anything I can do to help you, I'll just keep doing it as hard as I can, eh?
Thank you very much, Barnaby. I know that he's a very busy man. Can I ask for Craig Kelly to come up, please? I'm in the music industry. I was going to say Paul Kelly. Craig Kelly. Please give Craig a very big welcome. And he's off into the big house again as well.
Firstly, thank you all so much for coming today. It really, really counts and makes a difference. Barnaby spoke about the debt, and I'd just like to put in some perspective. Already, this government has run up debt of over $260 billion. Oh my God. That's $260,000 million. Now, to try and put that in some perspective, the job that will take to pay that back. If we just decided we will have a plan to pay back $200 billion, and to pay it back over 20 years. That cost will cost the taxpayers of this country $267 million a week, every week, for the next 20 years.
Oh my God.
Now, to put that into some perspective, late last year, Cubby Station was sold.
Yeah, that's right.
The largest agricultural property in the Southern Hemisphere. It was sold for $250 million. Now, to put that $267 billion in perspective, which we have to pay back, that is the equivalent of giving away one Cubby Station, giving it away overseas, one Cubby Station, every week of the year for the next 20 years. That is the extent of the debt that this mob up here that are running this place have gotten us into. That's why we say enough is enough. At September 14, we need to keep the rage all the way through to the next election. And we have to make sure that this mob have the greatest defeat in the history of our federation. Because we need to set a message and a precedent. We want any politician that walks through those doors within the next 50 years, when they walk in, that they should have to say one thing: remember what they did to Gillard.
Right.
Yes.
And if anyone thinks to try and govern this country the way this mob have done, we have to set the example. What will happen to you will be done at September the 14th. So again, thanks a lot for coming. There's still a long way to go. We saw the polls, how tight they can be. You guys need to keep working. You need to keep talking to all your friends, talking to your acquaintances, talking to your kids. We have to make sure not only do we win this next election, but we have the greatest defeat of the current Labor government in our nation's history. Thanks very much and keep it up.